Step into the Kathy Rogers podcast studio for the familiar comfort of your best friend's mom. Explore what shapes us, strengthens us, and connects each of us to God's distinct purpose. Get ready for new ways of seeing how resilience bears fruit.
I'm Kathy Rogers. Welcome to the Kathy Rogers podcast, sharing insight from your best friend's mom. I recently had a friend ask me, how do you share your faith through your business? Well, specifically, not really. However, there are several beliefs that guide not only my business and business decisions, but all of my decisions, including financial or otherwise. First of all, who owns my business? I believe that everything that I have is the Lord's, and that while I'm here on this earth, I'm to be a good steward of everything that He entrusts me to. And by good steward, I mean that I'm responsible for maximizing whatever gifts He gives me. The story behind my opportunity with Nothing Bundt Cakes is an excellent illustration of God's direction and guidance in business ownership. So let's go back to, I think it was 2010, 2011. I had been a stay-at-home mom with my kids for 17 years. Yes, I helped Brian with his business, and it was an excellent time, but I never saw a road to getting back into working again. I wasn't a great business idea person. How do you just go and, oh, excuse me, I know there's a 17-year gap on my resume, but I know you want to hire me. Brian's belief never wavered. He believed there was going to be an opportunity when we got to the empty nest phase of life. I just kind of coasted on that. And he would say, oh, you're going to meet the right person. I loved his belief in me, although I thought it might be a little naive. Well, was I wrong? Our oldest daughter had graduated from high school, and she felt God had changed the plans through the summer before she went off to college. So she stayed home. She got a job at a Nothing Bundt Cakes and just came home one day and said, Mom, you really need to meet the owner. He's partnering with other people as he's developing different locations within the Metroplex. And I really think it's something you could do. I love that my kids believe in me when they do. So I was thinking the whole time, I've been a mom. I even said that in my job interview. I have just been a mom. He's like, those skill sets transfer over to managing the bakery. You're going to be fine. He was right. It's a lot of people stuff. And guess what? Parenthood is. It's a lot of people stuff. He was an excellent mentor. He gave me an opportunity that I will never, ever take for granted. He guided me. He taught me the ins and outs of the business. Now, the whole time I was taking my paycheck and handing it to the university and then, getting another paycheck, but I learned so much. I'm just eternally grateful for that. And then as he decided he wasn't going to be in the business anymore, we got the opportunity to be franchisees in our own community. Now, I'd like to say that opportunity is that Ephesians 3, my favorite verses, more than I could have ever asked or imagined. I now live and own a business in the same wonderful community. So now when I get discouraged, think 2020 and all those fabulous decisions we got to make then, or when there's an election year and the economy just doesn't know what it's going to do, I remind myself, God gave this business to us. He will clearly direct us if it's ever time for us to do something else. And I hold the sweet business with open hands as an offering to God for the blessing, and also in responsibility to Him for trusting me to navigate with His wisdom and guidance in how to develop. I'm going to pause here for just a second and kind of go off script to tell you guys a little secret about what happens to me every time before I sit down to do this podcast. I sit down to do my script of the podcast and I feel like God's given me something to do, and then I have a little argument with myself. Like today, it truly was an out loud argument. Seriously. From the beginning, my desire has been to be a conduit of what God has taught me through different phases of my life, through stages, circumstances, predicaments, whatever word you want to use. Yet as I start typing and I get excited, then I begin to think, well, that sounds haughty. You think pretty highly of yourself, or no one wants to hear that. I keep praying, spending time in God's word, asking him to guide me, yet then I doubt it when it starts happening. Man, I think there's a verse in the Bible like that about, I think, was it Paul or Peter? Peter, that was in prison and they were praying for him to be released. And there was an earthquake and he was released and he knocked on the door and they said, oh, it can't be Peter because we're still praying for Peter to be released. Guess what, guys? If God's called us to do something, do it. He'll empower you. So now here's my prayer, a very specific one for my life and for yours. Make me a conduit. That's a conductor, a vessel, a funnel. Take away any desires for me to be a generator, whether that is making people like me by producing original stuff that seems to only be from Kathy, or to be an insulator, something that restricts what God's trying to do, something that lets fear keep me from doing what he wants to use me to do. Guess what? I'm telling you this because I want you to stop doubting yourself too. I want you to do what God has called you to do. So I'm just going to take it away from here. You don't need to do this. Do not argue with yourself. I'll stop arguing with myself too. Deal? Okay, deal. Okay, back to the subject. In practice, I have a degree. I have a master's in accounting. I know business. I have learned how to manage. I'm educated in finance, operations, customer service. I know these principles. I have practical experience. I use all of this to the best of my ability each day, no matter what the circumstances are in any given time of my life. So basically, have a few goals as a business owner. Is it all about the bottom line? Is it all about the profit margin? Sort of, but more indirectly than directly. Here are a few of the goals that we use to facilitate excellence in our team development and customer service. Now, both of those things are huge topics on their own. Very important, lots of details, but I'm not going to cover them fully. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit. Our main goal is to offer a place to belong, grow, develop, and contribute to making our guests' visits to our bakery not just a transaction, but an experience. And we do that through our customer service and our quality product. I learned a long time ago, people remember and come back to your bakery because of how you make them feel when they come in. We have the most amazing team of caring people. We remember how much it means to have people choose our cakes for their celebrations, their comfort foods, their pick-me-ups. There are a lot of choices out there. I can remember when I was first in the bakery and I was learning all of the ropes. I was overwhelmed by the number of people that would come in and get these cakes for their big family celebrations. And that night I would think, oh my gosh, the Smith family is celebrating grandma's birthday. That never ceases to warm my heart. I appreciate the opportunities to be a small part of someone's life. It's also very humbling. So on the days when our guests seem a bit irrational in their expectations, I mean, we do have physical limitations and some expectations are unrealistic. Baking and frosting and decorating take time. Our cakes may taste like they are magically created, but they are not. So we have learned to realize it is not always about the cake. Someone could be making demands on their time. They could be overcommitted. Money might be too tight this month. This mom may have been so busy she forgot to order her kid's birthday cake. I am that mom, by the way. Lots and lots of reasons outside of the bakery walls can cause a misfiring of emotions that fall on us. We weren't the target, but we received the emotions. You know what we have a choice to do? We can show that we really care. We can change their day. We can see just by taking the time to stop, listen. Perhaps we can even change their day or at least reduce maybe a little bit of stress. We didn't respond to the negative with negative, but with grace, listening. And can't we all use a little grace sometimes? Our song this week is kind of silly, but I was thinking, Be Our Guest, you know, the original from The Beauty and the Beast with Angela Lansbury. I just love that song, and it's so fun. So maybe you can hear it singing in your head the next time you have to interact with someone who's not so easy to interact with in a customer service situation. Besides our guest, I want our team to know that each one of them is very valuable as a human being, as a person, as the mom, daughter, son, spouse, whatever role they have in their lives. We're just secondary to that. Yes, we cannot do what we do without our team. If any piece of it was missing, it would mess it all up. But their value to us is the humans that they are, the incredibly warm, friendly, caring, service-oriented people that they are that combine to make this amazing team. I want them to know that we care and we appreciate everything they do. We've been through a lot together. Since opening our franchise, I've survived breast cancer. Multiple team members have lost family members in various ways. Grief is real, and we want to have compassion for each other. Compassion and patience are very important when people are processing deep loss. We have experienced car accidents, disappointments, scams, rejections, but we've also gotten to celebrate big things: births, marriages, promotions, graduations. These human connections make a team really deeper, connected at the roots. And this comes through as we provide the best cakes and service for our guests, and we make it sweeter together. Now, these goals support our vision to create guests for life through how we interact with them and the products that we provide for them to meet their needs, anticipate their needs. But do any of these really set forth an obvious statement of my faith through daily interactions? After all, aren't there successful, moral, fair, and ethical business people who don't share my faith? So what is the difference? Is there a difference? As with most interactions in our lives, business, personal relationships, family relationships, friendships, our core values and our heart will shine through. Every action or interaction is guided by two things: your motives and your perspective. Now, the exact same action with a different motive or a different perspective will have a different result. But it's up to us. What are our motives? It could be anything all the way from selfish ambition to just pure-hearted good. Our perspective, I'm going to call this more of a real unbiased truth versus deceiving ourselves, blinded to reality, because I'm convinced that any absolute truth is only imparted on us through God's wisdom and God's pure guidance, because our humanity limits our perspective to basically our experiences, the way that we see life, the way that we've experienced life. So I'm just going to call it the Kathy lens. You can name it after yourself. You don't have to call it the Kathy lens. But for this illustration, I want it to be seen as your real truth. You're not trying to lie to yourself. You're telling yourself the truth. Because to the best of my ability, I'm looking for what's right and good for everyone involved in every situation. And that's the perspective I want to choose to take. So with each decision we make, each word we say, conversations with each other, our motives are detectable. If my intentions are for my own benefit without a care for others, it will be noticeable. Maybe just a little bit, maybe quite obvious. But there is something in how I respond that will display the air of, there's a hollow inauthenticity in her suggestion, all the way up to, whoa, she thinks this is all about her. In my experience, to a degree, this can kind of almost be acceptable in business. I believe in retail or any people-oriented business, including the bakery, that there's less opportunity for wiggle room here because most of us want service. Like by serving, I mean, you're seeing it all my way, right? But even with that, here's an example I'd like to use because you can kind of make that go either way and still be considered, I think I'll call it acceptable. So here's the example. If I want to make sure that I'm maximizing my profits by holding people to, say, a birthday cake, the coupon for the free buntlet deadline, I would not technically be unreasonable if I'm enforcing that rule. I mean, after all, what are deadlines for if you do not hold people to them and enforce them, right? I could have oh, I'm so sorry you missed it. I hope you can plan better next year mentality. I said it really nice, right? But what does that communicate subconsciously? If I was on the other side of the counter, I would hear you say, your celebration is not as important to me as the rules are here. And that image you have of fun and celebration, including birthdays, must just be a marketing campaign, not reality in these doors. Yet, in this case, I have flexibility to show grace. As the business owner, I can say, let's extend that birthday one more day. Do you know how happy I am that you still want to be celebrating your birthday with our cake? That's an opportunity to make their day, to say yes. I'm so glad we get to do that. Now, did it cost me cake? Yeah. What did it earn me? Maybe nothing but a day of appreciation. Maybe they'll remember next time they need a cake. Maybe not. Still, I choose to be generous without expectation of reciprocity because that grace-filled heart is how my faith plays out. What about motive and perspective when it comes to our team? I mean, after all, I am the boss. I sign the paychecks. Aren't they technically required to follow my guidance and rules? If I choose to be demanding, unpredictable, undependable, or with expectations that I don't communicate to them, there's really not much legally wrong with my leadership under those circumstances. This kind of made me laugh because I really couldn't imagine being like this, but I did go to my memory of some bad bosses, put them all together to come up with this nice little scenario. But guess what? That's not who I choose to be. I'm human. I work on a team with humans. We interact with humans. Nobody's perfect. Aren't we all going to have better days than other days? Wouldn't it be beneficial to all of us to maybe fill in the gaps when someone's having a not so great day by lifting the whole team up versus condemning or being critical or not seeing that, guess what? They helped you out last week. I choose the second choice. I choose to be a part of a team that cares about each other enough to fill in the gaps, to do the best that they can with unselfish motives of love and desire to what makes all of us better together as a team. Can you see the difference in the lens of what your motives are and what your perspective is? My motives and perspective are through the lens of God's love for me, His grace He imparts on me, the grace that He continues to offer me puts me in a place of sharing that grace in humility because I can never outgive God. And I know that I don't deserve more than anybody else. But if I have more, I want to share more. With this grace first mentality, the foundation of my interaction with my team and our guests is love. I love others because I am loved by God. I don't deserve it. I can't earn it. Now, I don't judge those who don't share my beliefs. I believe the Bible verse that says they will know that we are Christians by our love. And I believe there can be good, fair, and moral conduct outside of a faith in Jesus Christ. But this love and this grace, which are the lenses through which I define my business conduct, comes from my belief in my Lord Jesus Christ. Now, there are wonderful relational fruits that come from business ownership. It all brings me such joy. Like the people that are so different from me or that paths don't cross with me that I wouldn't be friends with, let alone even know them, if it weren't for our bakery. What a joy that I get to know these people. And then there are the young teenagers that work for us. We've had lots of them over the years. You know, it's their first or second job. They have warm hearts, but they get to learn a little maturity. They learn a lot through working together as a team or interacting with not so easy problem solving or customer service. The biggest compliment I can get from them is when they use something that they learned, whether that's problem solving or customer service, in their big girl jobs. Something that I know that subconsciously they could look back and go, you know what? I learned how to do this because of my time at Nothing But Cakes. Or when they email me, call me, text me and say, hey, I'm getting married and I want bundt cake at my wedding. Just makes my heart so happy that we're still an important and positive part of their lives. They've turned out to be some amazing people, and I'm grateful for the time that I got to be a part of their lives. Some of them I still keep up with, and it means a lot to me to be friends with these adult young ladies now. As a business owner, I continue to pray for a generous heart because I remember growing up in a home with a single mom who had a high school education and did whatever was needed to provide for our family. When I see the good that God has done in my life, the opportunities, the blessings, the successes, I never want to forget who provided those things. The Bible says that every good and perfect gift is from above, from God. We weren't created to be buckets, but to be funnels. We share with others because of God's blessings on us. My mother was one of the hardest working people I've ever met. She never had a job that she thought she was too good to do. She did the opportunities that God gave her to provide for her family. And we lived in a loving community that shared kindness with our family too. I believe these things help me to remember the importance of people that are in the same situation, whether it's somebody that's working for me or somebody that I meet. I have a connection with them. And if I have the resources to share with them, I think that's God asking me to give back and remembering that He does own all of it. I want to repeat, there's nothing about me that is special than any of the next person. But as I have received, I desire to share, and I thank God continually for those opportunities. I can be generous, caring, and sharing with others because it's not mine, it's God's. I am responsible for what God has given me. This doesn't change my obligation to be a good business person, but I believe it magnifies it. I get to share God's love with everybody I come into contact with, and this includes when I'm wearing my business owner hat. I had a sweet friend tell me when I first started in the bundt cake world that she prayed for my business to be a ministry to those who need to feel loved. Don't we all? I almost cried when she told me that. Who doesn't want to be the conduit for God's love for those who need to know today, right now, somebody loves them? Don't we desire to share His pure, unfiltered love? The truth is that I pray that every single time I get this opportunity to talk with you. When I know you're listening to this, I want you to hear every time, God loves you. He desires a relationship with you. As you get to know your Creator better, I pray you will see how your gifts, your uniqueness, your personality, your joys, your perspective can bless others as you pursue the plans God has for your life. And you know what? He has plans, but He doesn't just say, hey, here's the blueprint, have fun. He provides for you. He guides you because He is a God of relationships, and He wants to be in relationship with you as you do things that share His love and your unique gifts. God bless you. It is my joy to get to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much for sharing all of your encouraging words. It really does overwhelm me every time someone I meet says they enjoy my podcast. So keep sharing with your friends and letting us know what topics you want to hear. I want you to take the opportunity to go to our website. We want to keep you informed. Go to thekathyrogers.com. That's Kathy with a K, Rogers, no D. And at the bottom of the page, stay connected. You can subscribe for email content that will keep you up to date. We're still entering people for the $100 Amazon gift card that we're going to draw at the end of the summer. So if you haven't signed up, do it. Share it with your friends. Can you think of one person who might benefit from some of the content you've listened to? Why don't you stop right now, share it with them. You may be the conduit God's using for them to hear this. I look forward to next time. God bless you.
Please email your questions and comments to info@thekathyrogers.com. If you found value in this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to receive each episode when it posts. We appreciate you.